There we go. Sweet. Finally. It is working. All right. Hey guys. So I had a little extra free time today, but basically I just wanted to connect with you guys and just talk a little bit and just see. There's always a lot of different questions when it comes to training, when it comes to racing. A lot of people ask questions about nutrition, different things of that nature. So I just wanted to take some time tonight to answer any of those questions, or maybe even just kind of discuss some things when it comes to training or racing or nutrition or just anything cycling related in general. I mean, it could even be something like, what type of cycling gear do you prefer for this or that? But anyways, yeah, I'll just wait for you guys to give me some questions, and then hopefully we can get the ball rolling, and we'll go that direction. Anyways, this whole shelter in place thing is super crazy. I know a lot of people are really stressed out about it. But for me personally, I've been doing just a lot of, I've been getting a lot of work done. Our church and stuff is still working full time. So I've been working full time at home, just working on videos for our church too. So that's why a lot of the YouTube stuff's been kind of like put on hold for the cycling. But I got some videos in the works right now for some more race breakdowns. But in the meantime, I've been doing a lot of video editing for our church and just kind of working through that. And then outside of that, I've been trying to get some decent training hours in because season's now on hold. It's a good time to go back and start to work on some of the weaknesses that I may have coming into the season. So, I'm already on pretty good form, but you never know what everyone's going to be doing. So I'm just kind of doing that and working through that, and going to see, if we can continue to raise my threshold a little bit or raise my VO2 a little bit more. And then we'll go back into some anaerobic work once the season starts to get announced when we're going to start racing again. But until then, we've been doing a lot of VO2 and threshold stuff, and also lots of endurance rides and whatnot. I do see Ismail, dude, what's up, dude? Hey, I coach you. Super cool. You've been doing a great job too with everything that's going on and just your workouts and whatnot. But some of my favorite workouts, I would have to say I really like the VO2 stuff. I know they suck and they hurt a lot, but they're probably one of the workouts I find for me personally, like I really adapt really well to them. So they're definitely one of the workouts I like to go out and do. The workout that I definitely dig would be there's the 3 minutes on. Was it 3 minutes on, 3 minutes off? I think it is 3 minutes on, 4 minutes off. Maybe I can't remember what it is. It's a tough workout, and you do that 6 times. I give a lot of my athletes that workout too. We see a lot of good benefit when it comes to VO2, but off is what the rest period is for that. But that one too, I really saw a lot of gains last year when it came to my VO2. So the VO2 work I really like. Plus the style of racing that we have here in NorCal and the Northern California scene, it's very explosive when it comes to just any of the road races too and the crits. So we don't have any climbs that are like over 10 minutes. So having like a huge threshold to like push, 20, 30, 40 minutes up climbs, it really doesn't matter that much because we don't have that. So instead, I focus a lot on the VO2 side of things. One, that helps out a lot of crits. And then two, it also just kind of helps for like those road races with the shorter like 4 to 5 minute climbs that we tend to have. And we take them pretty hard, but if I have a high 10-minute power, then doing those 5-minute climbs repeatedly at the 10-minute power, that's not a big deal. So that's why the VO2 stuff I really focus on that. Plus, if you can raise so say you have a house, if you can raise the roof on the house, which is your VO2, you can raise that. Now you have more room in here for the threshold to come up. So I find when you tend to do the VO2 stuff, you also kind of see the threshold drag up as well. Super cool. Yeah, Avery, how are you keeping motivated during this whole conundrum? Dude, honestly, just kind of, so what I've been doing is really trying to think about what's coming up down the road, right? So we all know racing is going to continue at some point, and it can be hard. A lot of my athletes too are like, what do you do when you have an invisible target? I totally, completely get that. It's super hard, but racing will start up soon, and when racing starts up, we gotta be ready to go. So the weather's actually getting super nice here in California. Like, we're finally in the 70s this week. So going outside and riding is really enjoyable. I call it gains weather. Like, you just feel phenomenal in this type of weather. So we're going out and getting a lot of work done there, and just honestly using the bike to de-stress during this time too has really helped. I know a lot of people have uncertainties coming up with losing jobs and stuff. I mean, I'm in the same boat. My wife lost her job because she's a substitute teacher, so we might be out of a job there for until school starts up in August. That sucks, but at the same time, we're making the best of it. We're spending time together, getting things done around the house. I still have my job between this and the coaching. I mean, I got those two things going on in church. So I got a lot of stuff going on too. But season's going to start up soon. Was already racing really well this year. Our team is doing really well this year. Ride Bikes is super gelled as a team. And that's super exciting. And I know all of our teammates are continuing to put in the training and hours. So that keeps me motivated too, and we're also just kind of connecting with each other and pushing each other, a little bit further and seeing what we can do gains wise, because we're already clicking pretty good, but now we just want to keep it going. What would you recommend for developing your sprint? Because I'm trying to work on that while BMX is canceled. Also, is there a youth group live stream or something tomorrow? Trenton T. Yeah, so sprinting sucks. I am not a sprinter. It really sucks. But basically, to help work on your sprint, so if you can do some 30-minute, or not 30-minute, that'd be awful. That'd be a terrible sprint workout. If you could do 30 seconds. So if you can do 30-second max effort, and then after 30 seconds, take about an 8-minute rest. Just kind of pedal around for 8 minutes. That allows you to recover, and then you do another 30-second max effort. If you do 5 of those, that will help to work on your sprint. It gets very tough with that, but it does help. What's another workout that I've done that really helps with the sprinting? Even just kind of doing some 10-second snaps, just 10 seconds, just all out randomly while you're riding and stuff. That tends to help a lot with your sprints too. And as for youth group, there is no youth group live, but I am making those videos, and those are on our church YouTube page, so check that out. Crosspoint Church, Sanger. But yeah, I'll be dropping a YouTube video. I'm working on that today, and we'll be dropping that either tomorrow or the next day. We might actually use Zoom too and get all the kids together. But what up, Ahmad? How are you doing, bud? Man, I miss coaching you. Come back. Anyways, hope all is well with you, dude. Can you speak to using this as an opportunity to take care or lingering injuries in the quarantine? Yeah, no, seriously. So the quarantine, with everything going on, I mean, you could use this time for even just physical maintenance. So a lot of people have extra time now, right? I mean, you're working from home. You might be able to get stuff done a little bit quicker because you're at home, and or maybe you're just sidetracked. You don't want to work that much. But yeah, you could use this time to work on some core work, different things like that. Tim on our team from SoCal PT, he's got all kinds of crazy cool band workouts and things like that, which you would think band workouts are super lame. Dude, they whoop my butt. Okay, they're actually really tough. But I use this time too, just to get in the routine of focusing on like different types of stretching and things like that. Hydration always helps too, and then just making sure to maybe knock out some planks, maybe do some of that band work. My wife's been getting into working out right now too, so like I'm actually looking into like buying some kettlebells and whatnot and start doing some simple little things with that. Nothing like over fatiguing because I'm putting still a lot of time in on the bike and workouts on the bike, so I don't want to like over fatigue my body when I go into the bike rides. But just doing some supplemental things here and there, that really helps, especially right now. I mean, you don't have races coming up, so you can actually kind of push the fatigue a little bit higher because you don't have anything to be super fresh for. So if you start doing some of the side stuff, that's going to help really build up, and then hopefully help you just carry through the season. Because for me personally, I do a lot of this stuff in the off season, and then when season starts, I tend to push it off to the side and neglect it because I'm too busy trying to hit my targets, trying to hit my workouts, and really just overall trying to, race and recover as much as I can. So I'm not adding any stress that I don't need to stress. But with no racing right now, and with a little bit more free time during this quarantine stuff, you can actually go back and start hitting on some of that strength and core and different stability stuff to help you. And that's also going to help not cause injuries down the road if you're keeping all that stuff nice and strong and maintained. Plus, Kyle, dude, I know you're struggling with an injury right now. I'm super excited. Kyle reached out to Tim at SoCal PT, and Tim is doing a great job in getting him back into shape. So super excited. Fox Cyclist, continue building base through traditional high volume base training or sweet spot for base training. Can dedicate 10 to 12 hours in the trainer. Chris this year. Oh, okay. So the high volume base stuff, I mean, that works, but it also depends on like how you're breaking that up. So for a lot of my athletes, we do kind of like the polarized method. So we really don't do rest weeks, but we will go, some of them will go anywhere from 8 hours a week to 15 hours a week, depending on what their schedule is. And we'll stay consistent with that volume. But the way we structure it is like in the base period, we'll do a lot of sweet spot, like 2 days a week. And there's probably 3 to 4 days in between, but they're not off, but they're like endurance pace. And there's only like 1 day completely off and 1 rest day. But we have 2 days a week where it's usually, let's say it's a Tuesday and a Friday. Those are the 2 days that we really do the most work on the bike. So those are our 2 sweet spot days. Some other things we do during the base season is we start to do those over-unders where we go VO2 over and then we go sweet spot under. Those suck, but they are very beneficial. And then as we get closer to the season actually starting or getting closer to our races, like a month and a half out, actually half a month out from our races, we start to work on the VO2 stuff to get that going well. That way you have some of that kind of high end. And then once we've kind of exhausted the VO2, then we start to move into anaerobic stuff. And a lot of our athletes were just starting to hit into anaerobic stuff, but then everything got put on hold. So now we're going back and we're doing, we did like a week of sweet spot, and now we're all going back and having a lot of them do either like 8-minute threshold stuff or over under threshold VO2 stuff, things of that nature. And then we'll go back into VO2 and hopefully season will start and they would have made more gains and come out for that. But yeah, I mean, if you can do 10 to 12 hours a week and you break it up like that, I think you're going to be flying for crits. Like that's a good amount of volume, and you'll be able to get in some decent road races too and do well in road races. For me personally, I train 12 hours a week. Right now I've been putting in around 15 to 18 hours a week because of just a little bit more time. But still, I mean, 10 to 12 hours a week, you can get pretty darn fast on 10 to 12 hours a week. So, how would you use this time to better prepare yourself for the second half of the season? So again, this time I'm seeing this as like an extended off season. Like I get to put in more work now and push my body a little bit into the red zone because I'm not having to be fresh for any races. Now I'm not like mentally driving myself in the ground, but rather just going back and doing a lot of that hard threshold and VO2 stuff that isn't a lot of fun. But instead of doing it like once a week, I'm doing it twice a week. So we're getting, more time in those zones, and then doing a lot of longer endurance rides in between those workouts too. So really just kind of working on the aerobic engine as well. That's what I've been doing during this time, and just continuing to build that base, because people are talking and they're kind of thinking that racing will probably go into October. I think USA Crit's already announced that they're going to have some races in October. So the season's going to go a little bit longer than the beginning of September, which I'm actually excited for. The weather around here is actually pretty good in October. So, but hopefully I'm just using this time to keep putting in hours, stay focused mentally, continue to be consistent. Consistency is huge on the bike. So I'm doing that as well. And then, just keep working on that threshold stuff. It's a good time to work on it, because you can't bang on that stuff a lot during season. It's very taxing. So during the season, you move more into like the VO2 side of things, and then you kind of only do one workout a week, because if you do 2 a week, you're not going to be fresh to race. So right now we're doing 2 workouts a week. It's very taxing, but then all that endurance riding really helps to offload the system, while still getting some benefit in there in the aerobic zone of your endurance. But that's what I'm using this time for. And yeah, it might be crazy when all this is over. We'll see if it is. Hopefully, life just kind of goes back to normal and it's not crazy. I actually feel like it's kind of a little bit crazy right now for me. Like I said, we're making a ton of videos for my work right now, and I'm knocking out like 3 videos a week for just church stuff. So it's been hard to try to make videos for YouTube. But anyways, Steven, I bombed FTP test, so I said that manually. Is this wrong? Am I messing with something? Example, 210 test, but said it was 230. You can do the workouts fine. Okay, testing. Let's talk testing. Testing is stupid. No, testing's tough, man. So for me, I'm a really good tester. I think it's also because I'm kind of more of a time trialist. So I don't know if I have the ability to really go deep and suffer. Like when I do a 20-minute test, I'm testing. When I get to the 10-minute mark, I start to kind of feel it and I start to get fatigued. And then I kind of hang on. And when I get to 15 minutes, it's all of a sudden something clicks and the pain goes away. And now I just start smashing for the last 5 minutes. I don't know what it is. But I also think I'm just a really good tester. And some people are good testers. Other people are not good testers. And I totally get that. An example would be my training partner, Nick. Dude, he's strong. He can suffer like a dog in races. He can go crazy deep and pushes some of his best numbers in races. Now, when it comes to testing, it is so hard for him to get a test out. Anything over 10 minutes, he can't test at it. I don't know why. It's a struggle. You give him a 5-minute test, dude, he will go all out for that, and he'll nail it. You give him a 30-second test, he'll go all out for that. You give him a 10-minute test, he'll do pretty solid. You give him a 20-minute test, and it's either he's having a good day and he can do it, or most of the time he's having a crap day and he can't do it. I don't know. Some people test well, some people don't. So with that, I know the ramp test would be kind of better for those people who test poorly, and it kind of gives you a close estimate. I wouldn't say it's full on right. It might overput your FTP a little bit. So if anything, if you get a ramp test result, maybe just drop it 5 watts. Say you do a ramp test and it says, oh, your FTP is 232. Drop it to 225 and just ride there for a while. See how that goes. If a ramp test says you're 235, drop it to 230. I don't know. Try that. But the ramp tests usually are about 6 to 8 minutes, however long they are. Testing's funny though. It really does depend on how you hydrated the night before, how you carved up the night before, how you carved up that morning. Did you come into it rested? Are you coming into it fatigued? It really does depend. Some people are really good at testing, others aren't. I have some other athletes. We've tried to do some tests and just can't do it. But the ramp test, it works really good for them. Now, it doesn't fully update my stuff for me and give me a solid idea of what he can do for 40 minutes. But with recent workouts we've been doing, now I'm starting to see that like his RAM test is actually starting to look very close to the power numbers he's doing in his like 8-minute threshold stuff. So the RAM test is a good option for people who can't test good. Outside of that, try to bang out the 20-minute or the longer FTP test that I've talked about before. Can you break down how to properly fuel during a typical VO2 over under threshold workout and races? Yeah, so this is what I do. I handle my workouts like a race. The night before, I tend to carb up a little bit. It's important to hydrate quite a bit the day before. And my wife was in the room. She goes, Ben & Jerry's? I smash a tub of Ben & Jerry's before every race. Sometimes I do before workouts. But I carb up the night before. And then the day of, I will usually try to eat something light in the morning, like, maybe just a couple pancakes with some syrup. And that's kind of all I had that morning. And coffee, of course. And then when we go out to ride, I usually pop a gel right before we take off. We're sponsored by Science and Sport, and they have those espresso gels, which are, if you haven't tried those, huge burst of energy. But I pop one of those before we start the ride, and then we do the intervals. Sometimes halfway through the intervals, I'll pop another gel just so I can finish the second half of the workout strong. I also have a drink mix that I will take with me during those intervals. And then after the intervals, I definitely pop another gel. And depending on how long my ride is, so most of my workout rides are about 2.5 hours. So I pop a gel before, and then I do about 20-minute warm-up. I do my workout, and then about the hour mark, I pop another gel. At that point, I have an hour and a half left. So then I get about another 30 to 45 minutes into my ride. At this point, I got about 45 minutes left. I pop one more gel. So I'm taking like 3 gels on a workout day. Same thing for racing. Racing, I carb up the day before, hydrate well. In the morning, I don't hydrate a lot because there's no pee breaks in racing. So sometimes I don't want to do a 4-hour road race holding it the whole time because sometimes they take pee breaks, sometimes they don't. So I hydrate the night before. I usually do a cup of coffee in the morning. Food-wise, it's anything from like a muffin to a banana. Like if I did enough work the night before in carb loading, I should be fine. I usually pop a gel before the race, not a caffeine one, just a regular one. I save the caffeine ones for the second half of the race, but I'll pop a gel, and then every 45 minutes, I'm trying to take a gel. And I got bottles with drink mix in them too. Sometimes it's beta fuel, sometimes it's regular drink mix. Luckily, my wife goes to all her races, so she's in the feed zone. I'm always taking a bottle almost every lap, so I'm trying to do a bottle an hour. Hopefully it has drink mix in there. In the second half of the race, I'll start to mix it between drink mix and water to get more water in the system to kind of help flush things out too. And then about an hour left in the race, hour and a half to an hour, I started taking the caffeine gels to give me more of a boost towards the end of the race. But that's how I fuel. For endurance days, I kind of skip breakfast and just eat on the bike, gels, whatever. Sometimes I'll use drink mix. I always do coffee in the morning too. That's what I do for those kinds of things. Dude, Kyle, thanks for the coaching shout out. I super appreciate it. Ahmad, what do you think of long endurance ride, 4+ hours compared to short 1-hour intensity rides? So you're gonna get two things here. So the longer endurance rides are gonna be working on a different system than the short, intense 1-hour rides. The long endurance rides, you're working on the anaerobic, or on the long endurance rides, you're working on the aerobic system. Now, for a lot of people, you get to about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then you start to feel the fatigue. Have you ever done a ride where, say your threshold? We'll do this. Here's mine. My threshold is 345. My endurance pace technically would be around 220 to 225 watts. So if I'm doing 220 for an hour and a half, it feels relatively easy to me. When I get to about 2 hours, I start to feel a little bit of fatigue in the legs, but it's still manageable. Then when I get to about the 3-hour mark, if I didn't eat, I'm in trouble. But about the 3-hour mark, now my legs are starting to get a little achy. Heart rate might have drifted up to, the low 150s a little bit, maybe even the high 140s. Whereas early in the ride, I was probably more around 130, 135. Now, 3 hours into the ride at 220, 225, my heart rate's now probably going to drift up to about 140, 145, maybe 150. Then when you get to the 4 hour mark, I mean, you're pretty exhausted then. But the more you do those longer endurance rides, the more your aerobic engine is going to build, and you're going to get more efficient. So that eventually, if you do a lot of 4 hour endurance rides, eventually you're going to get into that 4 hour mark, and you'll be able to start pushing past that and do 5 hours at that same intensity. It's kind of crazy how that works. I mean, the World Tour pros, they'll go out for like 7 hours, and it blows my mind. It'll keep their heart rate low the whole time. But aerobically, they're super fit. Now, the 1 hour intense rides, I mean, you're hitting on those hard zones. So you're not sticking at that aerobic area, but rather you're going to be hitting on the higher side of like the VO2. You're going to be hitting on the anaerobic stuff. And you're going to be depleting that in an hour, which is good. I mean, you can do hard workouts for an hour and deplete that, but you're not going to really build the aerobic base. So that's why you need those longer, slower rides. Now, you don't want to go out and just noodle at zone 1, but you do want to push the pace a little bit and just build that up. Man, you guys are too kind with your coaching comments. How well will all this Zwift training translate to outdoor gains? Dude, I think, honestly, trainer riding it's different than doing workouts outside. An example would be the 3-minute VO2 workout. So it was like 3 minutes at VO2 with 3 minutes off and then 3 minutes on. I think that's what it is. Or maybe it's 3 minutes on, 4 minutes off. Anyways, that workout, I can do really well outside. Now, when I do it inside on the trainer, I have to like pull back intensity a little bit. It's just how it is. So the trainer, you don't have dead spots in your pedal stroke. Like every single spot on the revolution of the pedal stroke, you're dealing with resistance. Whereas when you go outside, the inertia is far higher. So now you're not having to deal with resistance at every single spot of the pedal stroke. Maybe you have to deal with here, and here, and then right here, you get a little bit of a break. So I find that a lot of people can push more power outdoors than they can indoors. So whatever you're training at now, if you're hitting your numbers now, and say your threshold's 230 and you're indoors and it's 230, well, when you go outdoors, your threshold might automatically jump up to 240, maybe even 245. I mean, it sounds kind of crazy, but I've noticed too, it's hard for me to do VO2 inside. Like I can do 450 max 5-minute effort outside. I can't do that inside. I can do 400 watts to maybe 410 watts max 5-minute effort inside. Like it is a struggle. The other thing is the indoor workouts. I mean, unless you're able to really cool yourself off, I mean, it's really hard. You gotta really get some good fans in there to cool yourself off. But if you can cool yourself off indoors, then you can actually get closer to replicating outdoor numbers, because when you're indoors, it's static air and it's hard to offload that heat between intervals. Kind of like training outdoors when it's like 100 degrees. That's a waste of time, because after you do the first or second one, your body is so hot that even when you're doing the rest, you can't offload all of that heat, and it makes it super hard. So when you go into the next one, you're already in the red because your body's overheated. So that's what's also hard about the trainer. The trainer, though, I'm telling you, it is, I know for some of you, that's the only thing you guys can do. Totally get that. It does work, though. I mean, I tell all my athletes, consistency is key. The more you stay consistent and ride your bike, the more gains you're going to see, whether it's on the trainer or outdoors. But if you're doing hard workouts inside, I wouldn't be surprised if the power numbers are way better outdoors. In fact, I already had some athletes who've been training indoors all year, and they're doing some of the same workouts outdoors, and they're like, dude, my numbers are through the roof. And I'm like, well, you're also outdoors. It's far easier doing these harder workouts outdoors. Like, I would never give someone 30 by 30s to do on the trainer. That would suck. Doing them outdoors, they still suck, but you can actually hit the numbers. Totally different. Where are we at here? Oh, here we go. Oh, hey, wifey. Mark Tucker. Dude, You killed that KOM. Okay, listen. That KOM that was a good KOM. I think the day I got it, I also had a tailwind, and we did it after intervals, and we were doing our tempo threshold stuff off that. So we got the KOM that day. So when you got it the other day, you had a tailwind too, and you're like, dude, if you give it a shot, you could beat it by 30 seconds. That's a solid time, Mark. That's gonna be a tough one to go get. I don't know when I'm gonna give that one a shot. For now, you have the KOM, and you might actually have that for a while, because I'm saying that's a legit time of that. Good job. Um, anyways, yeah. So no other questions so far. But yes, I mean, this time's weird. It's super weird when it comes to training right now. Just honestly, guys, like I know there's no racing right now. There's kind of invisible target out there. Just stay motivated, stay consistent, keep knocking it out. Think about it this way too. Like how much of your competition is taking a break right now? I mean, I've been kind of Strava stalking some of the people I race against. Some of them are struggling. Some of them aren't riding that much. Some of them are doing Zwift. They're stuck indoors. They're doing Zwift. But a lot of people, when they do Zwift, they're only doing like an hour to an hour and a half. Like very few are doing multiple 2+ hour rides on Zwift. And that's the difference between outdoors. Like outdoors, I could spend all day outdoors. Man, I don't know. Okay, Scotty Wise does like 7-hour rides on Zwift. I don't understand how he does that. Like it's crazy. The dude does like 30, 35 hours a week, and almost all of it is on Zwift. I'm like, major kudos. Tyler does his 100+1 ride. I think there's one this Wednesday. I'm debating on doing it, but 4 hours on the trainer is forever. But that's the other thing. Like a lot of the competition right now, they're not spending a ton of time on Zwift. So I'm spending a lot of time outside, and I'm trying to get it done. Yeah, we're kind of like on the shelter in place thing. But for our county, we're actually encouraged to go outside and ride. That's deemed essential. My training partner, literally, he goes nowhere. He goes between home and his parents. That's it, because he's not working right now either. His wife is also staying home. They have a newborn. So, like, I know he's been pretty well quarantined. For me, I'm not going anywhere. My wife's been staying home too. She's not going anywhere. So we're all in like our little quarantine circle, if you would call it that. So like I got my quarantine crew. So me and my buddy Nick, we're riding all the time together because we both know we haven't been messing around with anyone else out there. But that's kind of our quarantine crew, and we've been keeping each other motivated, and we've been going out and doing our training rides together. I mean, if you look at us on Strava, you almost all the time we're riding together. We're never not separated. Heather is always jealous. She calls him my boyfriend, so whatever, I guess. Yeah, Ishmael, dude, learning to fuel for those workouts is huge. Making sure you take some gels and different things like that. And yeah, fans indoors is huge. I don't have my fan in here. My Zwift setup's behind me. But I have those Walmart, wind machines, I think is what they call. They're like this big around. I have 2 of them, so they're like side by side, and they're both just up in my face. That is the only way. And I have this window. I'll have that window open, and then when I have my door open, it draws the air through too. Definitely helps for staying cool. But try that. The fans are huge. Huge. Anyways, with the racing situation going on, would you continue to train as if you're peaking for A races this season, or would you change the plan back to base for this year? So, again, I mean, like, the only thing I did was I stopped doing the anaerobic stuff because there's no races. So I'm just going back to threshold and VO2 work. That's all we're doing. We're not going all the way back to sweet spot. We did like a week of that to kind of like use as a transition week, like a rest week. We just did sweet spot and transition. But now we're just back into it because I was even talking to my coach, and he's pretty well connected. He's out of Monterey, California. And he's thinking that we might start up late May, around June. Right now it's kind of looking like we're probably going to start around June, maybe early July. So we're just going to keep working on the threshold stuff, because threshold takes a long time to build. VO2 takes, about 6 weeks. You start to see results in the VO2, and then you can keep building that, over the next 3 to 4 weeks. And then you kind of like plateau out at VO2. Threshold takes years to build. Luckily, it also takes a long time to lose it. A lot of people will be like, oh, I lost 10 watts on my threshold. Well, it comes back to you really quick. So I will literally take 2 weeks off in October, and within 2 to 3 weeks, my threshold's still almost back to where it was. And then within like 1 or 2 workouts of doing threshold work, my threshold is where I left off last year. So we're doing a lot of threshold stuff right now, and we're doing some more like low dose VO2 because we're not trying to maximize the VO2 gains right now. We're just kind of doing low dose to keep the ceiling kind of bumping, creeping up. So now we can raise the threshold too. And hopefully threshold bumps up another 5 to 10 watts during this time. We'll see. But that's kind of what we're doing. We've had a handful of races in my system already, but not enough to burn me out. And then in between our hard workouts, just really making sure we keep it controlled and not burning any unnecessary matches that we need to, like going out and doing stupid stuff like chasing KOMs. That's why I'm saying I don't know when I'm going to take that one down. I'm going to have to go do it on a workout day, but that's going to be really hard too because that's a great time. Or even just going out and doing like power tests on days that you don't have workouts. That's burning matches, right? Training, you're putting away all of this money into the bank, so on race day you can spend it. Now if you're in training and you're on a non-race day and you want to go do a KOM challenge, or you want to go do a 20-minute power test for no reason, well, now you're taking some funds out of that race bank account and using it during training. So when it comes to racing, you're not going to have as much funds over here. So we're trying to make sure we just hit those 2 workout days really hard, and the rest of the time taking more trail and trying to stay controlled and focused and being like, hey, there might be a lot of racing from July to October. So let's not spend any of that fun money right now. Let's hang on to that until we get to there. So that's kind of what we're doing. That's kind of my mindset and my mentality with that. Dude, Ahmad, are you going to join the 100 plus 1 on Wednesday? I heard that Tyler has he's got 2 different ones going on right now. He's got a B squad, which is kind of like the controlled 3 watt per kilo crew. And then he's got the full send just racing crew of like, I think he put like 2.5 to 5.0 watts per kilo. I don't know which one I'm going to sign up for if I do it. I should probably sign up for the B squad because I would have done my workout the day before. And I just talked about how I don't need to spend that fun money. So there'd be no point in me racing that 100 plus 1. I should just stick to endurance on it. I don't know. I think I'll do that. We'll see. But yeah, do you guys have any questions too about, I don't know. I don't even know. I mean, a lot of great questions about different things. I don't know. I'm trying to think what else I can be talking about. What are your pre-race leg openers? I'll give you the breakdown of what I do before heading into a race. So when I'm heading into a race, usually my workout will usually be on that Tuesday because I usually just race on Saturdays. I don't race on Sundays, but usually my last workout is on a Tuesday, and then Wednesday is usually going to be like an endurance day, and then Thursday I do recovery spin, and then Friday I do leg openers. So Friday basically consists of kind of like a recovery spin to like endurance. It's just kind of just super chillax. It's usually about an hour is what I do, but I will do 2 or 3 like 1 minute to 90 second, like 85 to 90% efforts. So I know for like 90 seconds, 90 seconds I could do 400 plus watts easy, right? Now that's going to be a little bit of a too hard of a target though for 90 seconds. I'll be using some of that fun money the day before the race. So I'll do 90 seconds at like 350 to 400, just kind of like in that range. I'll do like 2 or 3 of those on the ride, and that's kind of all I do. I know other people do other things. Other people will do like 30-second, kind of like 90-second sprints. Some people will what mom? Hey, sorry. Some people will do 5-minute sweet spot efforts to kind of blow out the legs. Kind of find what works for you. For me, I like just going easy the 2 days before. I've seemed to come into the race really fresh legs. A lot of the athletes I coach, I kind of give them the same thing, and they've done really well with it too. So Kyle is someone who I always share YouTube videos on race breakdowns and stuff. He does kind of the same format that I do, and he's always coming into really good legs, and he races like 3 or 4 times that day. So that's a good thing. Mike Spike's lead out train versus ride bikes. Dude, Mike Spikes they have a really good lead out train. I'll be honest. Probably the best part about their lead out train is their lead out man. And that's going to be Sam Benedict is usually one of their heavy hitters for their lead out dude. Sam Benedict is a monster, dude. Hands down, he could do like 750 seated for 30 seconds without even like second guessing himself. He is super strong, but he's also like a killer sprinter. So they kind of stuck him into the lead out role. Sometimes if they're riding for Jeff Linder, I know, who is it? Oh my gosh, Matt Chat. He'll be the lead out man. That's kind of their lead out stuff. They have a really strong train. I think we have a strong train too. They have more guys than us, so that's kind of a disadvantage for us. But with Miles, I think he has a pretty sustained effort to keep us at the front, to try to go against their lead out train. And then I've been working a lot on my sprint lately just to kind of get a sprint, because I used to not be able to win from the breakaway when it came down to a sprint. Now I'm pretty confident I can. So I've been working on that, and it actually kind of turned out like now I'm kind of the lead out man for our team to drop Nick off. But I mean, we've been working on that, and we've taken my 30-second power from 700 watts to 850 watts. So at the end of a race, I'm pushing like 750, I think is what I'm doing. I'm trying to think what race it was. There was a race. Oh no, we did a group ride the other day. Not the other day. It was like 2 weeks ago, I guess, whatever it was, before all this stuff happened. And we did a lead out there, and I think I did a minute around 500, but I did 30 seconds at like 772. So I know I can do it. And that was after doing a pretty solid group ride. We got pretty frisky on some of it. So I know that that's doable in a race too. I know early in this year we did a lead out train. It was a practice crit. We had pretty good success in that too. But yeah, going against Mike Spikes will be interesting. I'm actually excited to get racing back going and to go head to head with those guys. They're definitely one of the best teams in NorCal. I think our team has been training really well, and we have a solid spot in the P12 field when it comes to teams to watch out for. Outside of that, Turmon has a really good sprinter where they don't even need a lead out train. So like we could have this lead out train battle, and then I think his name's Matt from Turmon could just beat both of us. So it's really interesting. But I'm totally excited to throw down in the lead out train stuff. Mark, we should go ride bikes lead out train versus Velo Kings lead out train here in Fresno sometime. That would be fun. It would kind of suck though, because it'd probably just be me and Nick. If Tyler came down, then it'd be 3 of us, but that would be fun too. But yeah, outside of that, I can't wait till racing gets back. What are some of the races you guys are excited for? What are some of the things you guys are looking forward too. I know a lot of people were looking at doing some fondos and stuff, especially over in the New York area. I can't remember which fondo. Was it the Garden State Fondo or something? Anyways, it got canceled and pushed till next year. Super bummer. I heard Dirty Kanza is still a go as of right now, and they could actually push it to any weekend they need to. So that's a plus. I think the Belgian Waffle Ride got canceled. I wonder if Elite Nationals is going to happen. That's at the end of June. It's in Florida, though. I don't think I'm going to that. But some of our team is thinking about going, so I don't know. Maybe. But that's the end of June. I wonder if they're still going to have that. I'm trying to think what else there is. Tyler has his Yosemite cycling camp coming up. I know he's still planning to have that. So we'll see how that goes. But I hope that kind of goes on. I don't know. That's like a month and a half away, so we'll see. Oh yeah, Tulsa Tough. Gosh, I just saw that. Yeah, Tulsa Tough is. I've never done it. Looks super fun. But yeah, that's kind of on hold now too. I'm honestly thinking August, September, and October is gonna be stacked with races, especially some of the bigger name races. Like I think they're all going to be back to back. I wonder if we'll even go into like November. That'd be kind of weird. That would kind of suck though, because you get December off and then start in January. But I don't know. Who knows what's gonna happen? It's crazy times. Tulsa Tough, yeah, that one's been postponed too. Everything in our area has pretty much been postponed. I mean, our calendar's cleared out, so who knows what's gonna happen. Brad, just starting out, been noticing that most of my workouts are in tempo. I'm also seeing recovery improving dramatically. Should I stay in tempo or should I do more endurance rides? Dude, that's a great question. When you're just starting out, I think tempo is really good. Tempo is it's gonna get you gains really quick. But the problem with tempo is after about 6 months, you might start to burn out. That's just what happens with tempo. You're going to make a lot of good gains from it. You're going to be like, wow, this program's working really well. And then you're going to plateau mentally. You might even get burnt out. So tempo, while it's fun and you can usually smash some good segments and things like that on it, and your rides are relatively quick and fast, learning to be controlled is what makes a really good athlete. So I was listening to this podcast. It was by, who was it by? Fast Talk. It was the Fast Talk guys. It was the Velo News or whatever, Fast Talk. But they were talking about how the pro guys, they're asking some pros what their numbers were in different things, and it was super interesting to realize that the pros go, I don't know, that's my coach's job. Like, they don't really pay attention to their numbers. They just kind of go out, do their workouts, and that's it. So if you can develop a program where, right now doing the tempo stuff is okay, but if you can learn to develop discipline early and learn to do, endurance rides and then go into the hard workout days and stuff, I think you're going to see overall, like mentally, you're going to stay fresher longer and you're going to be able to stay consistent longer, which in the end, being consistent is huge when it comes to making cycling gains. And also just mentally, you're not going to burn out. And then if you ride too much tempo all the time, you do have the risk of overtraining, which will not only burn you out, but now it's going to set you back because you've taxed your system too much that it is under recovering. You're now going to have to maybe take a couple of weeks off the bike. Worst case scenario is you take a month or two off to recuperate and let all that rest. So that's why when I give endurance to my athletes, I say, hey, go out and do the endurance, and the endurance is usually 65% of your threshold. So if my threshold is 345, then the endurance zone is going to be around 220, 225. But what I put in the description too is try to avoid zone 4, 5, and above. Like anything at threshold or up, try to avoid that. I even tell them the tempo stuff, I get it. If you're on a hill, you got to do some tempo, but try not to go in the tempo zone either. Just stay in that zone 2. Stay there because you don't want to turn those other systems on. There's another Fast Talk I was listening to where It was a runner where they ran. They would race 3K. So the race was only 3K long. I mean, it's like an 8-minute effort or something stupid for them, like super short. So they would race, and now they're done, right? And now the coach would actually make them go out and now do an hour and a half workout. But because he was like, now that you've raced and those systems are on, we might as well make use of that time and go work out and build on that. Whereas if you're doing endurance rides and you start to go into that threshold or above when it's not the day you're supposed to be doing that, you're going to turn those systems on, and now you're going to be wasting time recovery. Like the systems are going to be on, and now they're not going to be recovering anymore. So it's important to try to pull back and stay at that zone 2 or lower. That way you don't turn those systems on. Now, when it's a workout day, those systems are on, and go as hard as you want. I wouldn't say go so hard when you come home you fall off your bike, but you can push pretty hard. In fact, all the workouts I give my athletes, we do the workouts, and after the hour of doing the workout, the rest of the workout, I give them tempo. I give them 75 to 85%. Like, dude, go smash at tempo. One, it helps with just endurance, and it helps with recovering under stress. And then the second thing that it also does is it helps to kind of drive the adaptations. Like, I don't know what the science is behind that. My coach has an article on it. I'll have to find it and post that. But there's something about doing the tempo afterwards that allows the body to like drive more adaptations from the workout you just did, which is kind of crazy. So that's why I do that. But then when we go in the next day, it's either recovery day or it's going to be strictly zone 2 or lower. We don't want to go up in the upper zone and turn those systems back on. So the tempo stuff for now is totally fine. But 6 months from now, you might burn out. You're going to see your gains start to plateau. So I would try to get in the habit of being disciplined and doing 2 workouts a week with zone 2 or recovery spins, in between those workouts. That's going to be the best bang for your buck. That's what a lot of racers do. That's what a lot of athletes do. That's what a lot of coaches give. If you look at a lot of training plans too, I mean, the Zwift stuff isn't like that, and I don't think Trainer was like that either. But a lot of the good training plans that you'll see will have, one hard day, a couple easy days, and then a hard day, and a couple easy days, and then a hard day. That way you really just drive on those days. You're really pushing. The rest of the time you're allowing those upper zones to recover, but you're still riding the lower stuff, so you're getting a benefit there with the aerobic system, and then you're going back into high-end work. So try that out, see how that goes. You can also just ask me too on Instagram or something. I can maybe help you out with that, and we can talk through that. Yeah, Sea Otter is moved. Oh, Sea Otter's moved to October? I didn't know that. Cool. It's usually happening this month, like in 2 or 3 weeks. In April, but yeah, that's super cool. Sea Otter and San Ardo are very close. Oh yeah, no, they are close to you. Yeah, Sea Otter in October. That's gonna be interesting. I might actually go to that this year. That'll be fun. Yeah, San Ardo road race. That's a good one. But yeah, what are some of the other races that you guys are looking at doing? If they're not canceled, but what are some other ones you guys are looking at doing? Also, who's actually on Zwift and like getting a lot of Zwift rides in right now? I like Zwift, but man, it's so hard when the weather's nice outside to do Zwift. Like, I know a lot of people are doing this ride or doing that group ride on Zwift, and it looks like so much fun. But if the weather's like 75 and sunny outside, I kind of want to go outside. Other than that, if all of our questions are kind of answered for right now, I think I'm gonna get out of here. I think my wife is making homemade pizza. That is one of my favorites. I can hear it, and they're making dough right now. But yeah, outside of that, I do have more videos coming. I got some race breakdowns coming. Kyle sent me some more files. Oh yeah, if any of you guys have filmed any of your races and you want them broken down, hit me up on either Instagram or send me an email or something, and we can connect and figure out how to Dropbox those to me, and I would totally do a race breakdown for you, completely free. But I know some people have found that super useful. Kyle's loved it. Kyle, I'm super excited that he likes it too, because sometimes I get nervous about some of the stuff I say, but he's like, dude, it helps a lot, and I've already seen it helping his racing a lot. Like, it's crazy. He's gotten 2 wins this year so far. He won the Marietta Cat 3 Omnium. He just upgraded to Cat 2. Super stoked for him. So, yeah, if you guys have any footage of any crits, road races, go ahead and just hit me up, and we can figure out how to make that work. And I would totally make a breakdown for you. Outside of that, I think that's everything. So, hey, thanks for watching, guys. This is fun. This is the first time I've done this. So I might have to do another one down the road. We'll see. But outside of that, keep training hard. And I guess I'll see you guys either on Strava or on Zwift, or maybe at some races when they start up. Yeah, if anyone's interested in coaching too, hey, just talk to me, and we can figure out a thing and see what works for you, and see how we fit as a group or as a team. It really does depend on how me and you gel. So I usually do a phone call with everyone before they start, and just kind of talk through different things and how I think I can help them, and what their thoughts are, and then from there they usually make a decision of yay or nay. But if you're interested in that too, hit me up. Otherwise, this is fun. All right. Hope you guys have a good night and a good rest of your week.